Hello my friends, it's time for another Good to Know Monday tip. Today's video tip is titled, Why Do We Do What We Do? For the next 3 weeks or so of my Good to Know Monday tips, I want to talk about the principles behind lasting change, conditioning, and linking. And when we apply these principles in our daily lives, they bring lasting change, but only if we apply them skillfully. To start this discussion, I will discuss in today's video tip the forces that are behind these principles and why they bring about the lasting change we desire. Everything we do as humans, we do for a reason. And before you ask me, okay, Coach B, tell me what those reasons are, let me first expand on my statement about the forces behind our reasons. The fact is, a lot of us don't seem to be aware of what the reasons or reason is consciously. There is most definitely a single driving force behind all our behavior, and this force is impacting every aspect of our lives, from our relationships and finances to our bodies and brains. Ask yourself, what's the force that's controlling me even now and will continue to do so for the rest of my life? Well, are you ready for it? Are you sure you want the answer? Okay, here it is. The force generated by pain and pleasure. Let me repeat that. It's the force generated by pain and pleasure. The truth is, everything you and I do, we do it either out of our need to avoid pain or out of our desire to gain pleasure. Period. Throughout my 44 years of adult life, I've heard people talk about changes they want to make in themselves and in their lives for the better. I've even shared those same truths that I wanted to make in my life. But many folks can't seem to get themselves to follow through with those desired changes. They feel, remember that word feel, they feel frustrated, overwhelmed, and even angry with themselves because they know they need to take action, but they can't seem to get themselves to do it. My friends, there is one simple, powerful reason that this is so. These folks keep trying to change their behavior, which is the effect, instead of dealing with the cause that's behind their behavior. The secret to lasting change is to come to a clear understanding of this fact and then direct this force generated by pain and pleasure in your favor and not against you. Gaining this understanding will allow you once and for all to create the lasting changes and improvements you desire for yourself and for those you care about most. On the flip side, however, is the fact that failure to understand this force, the force produced by pain and pleasure, dooms us to a future of living like an animal or a machine, for we'll just live a life of reaction versus proaction, meaning with personal choice. Perhaps this sounds like a complete oversimplification by me, but think about it. Why don't you and I do some of the things we know we absolutely want to and should be doing, but we're not doing it? Let me answer this question with the question, what is procrastination? Procrastination is when you and I know we should do something, but we put it off and end up not doing it. And why not? Again, the answer is simple. At some level, we believe that taking the action needed in this moment would be more painful than putting it off is going to be. Yet we need to ask ourselves, have we ever had the experience of putting something off long enough that suddenly we feel new pressure to just do it, to just get it done? What happened? I'll tell you what happened. We changed what we linked the pain and pleasure to in our mind. Suddenly, not taking action became more painful than putting it off or procrastinating it. This often occurs around April 15th for a lot of Americans, right? Anyhow, taxes. These principles lead me to the law of action, which says, the secret to success is learning how to use pain and pleasure instead of having pain and pleasure use us. If we do this, we're in control of our lives. If we don't, life controls us. With this law of action in mind, ask yourself, what keeps you from approaching the man or woman of your dreams? What keeps you from starting that new business you've had a desire to start for years and years? Why do you keep putting these desires off? What prevents you from doing whatever it takes to make your life exactly as you desire it to be? Again, the answer is simple. Even though you know that all these actions would benefit you, in other words, they would definitely bring pleasure to your life, you fail to act simply because in that moment you're still associating, by the thoughts in your mind, a greater amount of pain to doing what's necessary than the pleasure from taking action on it. I teach a success secret that I think is quite unique. It says the fear of losing something or the fear of failure is much greater than the desire to have more. The Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca said, a man or woman who suffers before it's necessary suffers more than is necessary. As you ponder on this quote, I have a question for you. Why is it that people can experience pain and pleasure and yet fail to change? The answer again is simple. They haven't experienced enough pain yet. They haven't hit what I call their emotional limit. Let me give an example of what I'm talking about. If you've ever been in a destructive relationship, for example, you finally made the decision to take back your personal power by taking action and changing your life. You did it because you hit a level of pain from which you weren't willing to settle for anymore. So you changed, you changed your thoughts about it, and those new thoughts gave you power to decide to take the power you were giving up to your ex-relationship and taking it back to yourself. I think we've experienced times like this in our lives. All of us has done that. When we've said to ourselves, I've had it. Never again. This has to change right now. Period. This frame of mind, my friends, is the magical moment when pain becomes your friend, becomes our friend. Our new thought to not accept any more pain turns our pain into a driving force so that we can take action, new action, which action produces new results. And these new results is a decrease in our pain. And at times it even results in a new driving force in us called pleasure. In other words, we've become more powerfully compelled to act because we now own the belief that making this change to leave this relationship will bring us new pleasure that we haven't enjoyed for some time now. Peace is this kind of pleasure we can get out of pain. So there you go. This kind of power produced by pain and pleasure matters greatly. Our thinking about pain and pleasure determines our destiny. And so acting on this newfound understanding by taking ownership of these truths will allow you and I to direct these forces of pleasure and pain in such a way that they'll become our allies and not our enemies of the kind of life that we desire to have. We want them as allies and that power that they bring and produce. I sincerely hope that as you do take ownership of these principles, these secrets, these truths of success, you'll start to experience and recognize lasting change happening right before your eyes in your life as you direct this new power of pain and pleasure to your advantage. Now, before I let you go, let me take just a moment again and invite those of you who haven't yet taken advantage of my offer to be my guest on a private coaching call with me on my nickel, to go ahead and make the decision to take me up on that offer. You'll be glad you did. I love coaching beginner entrepreneurs just like you on how to start and launch a business successfully. And I'd be extremely honored to spend some time with you coaching you on your questions, your goals, your dreams. In the Good to Know Monday tip email I sent you with this video tip in it, I included a link that says free coaching call with Coach B. Go ahead and click on it and set up your free private coaching call with me now. Do it. It will help you in taking those next steps that'll take you on to the next level of your dream. I promise I won't pressure you to become a member of my beginner entrepreneur community at the end of the call trying to sales close you. That's not my style. In fact, I bet you'll come away saying to yourself, man, that was great. I really enjoyed that. Okay, I'm done with the invitation. So until next Monday, when I'll send out my next Good to Know Monday tip, I want to wish all of you continued success. Goodbye.